Could an international trip that was supposed to be a relaxing moment suddenly turn into a major drama that shocked ARMY? Why did Kim Taehyung, better known as V from BTS, suddenly appear at Los Angeles International Airport only to then be abruptly ordered back to Korea by HYBE? And what's even more shocking, how did Jungkook react, who reportedly was so shocked upon hearing the news? These questions have now become the hottest discussion among ARMY worldwide, sparking wild speculation about what is truly happening behind the scenes. That morning, the atmosphere at LA airport felt ordinary until dozens of fan site cameras suddenly captured Taehyung walking quickly. Dressed in casual attire, a black mask, and dark glasses, he tried to maintain calm. Yet the camera's gaze still caught his expression, cold and full of weight. ARMY present at the location immediately realized something was wrong. Wasn't Taehyung supposed to be enjoying a free schedule after attending certain events in America? Why did he look in such a hurry, as if being chased by something big? It didn't take long before rumors spread. HYBE, the company behind BTS, was suspected of issuing a sudden order for Taehyung to immediately return to Korea. This information first circulated from an airport staff who mentioned an emergency schedule for a famous Korean artist. When photos of Taehyung's departure surfaced, the rumor turned into shocking certainty. Many began to wonder, what kind of order was so urgent that it forced Taehyung to leave in such haste? The most emotional reaction came from Jungkook, the BTS magnate, who had just experienced a reunion moment with the members, appeared truly surprised. Several sources said Jungkook initially could not believe the news that Taehyung had been asked to return home. In fact, in a short broadcast recorded by fans, Jungkook seemed to hold back emotions when asked about his friend's departure. His confused expression has now become the symbol of ARMY's feelings, a mix of shock, disappointment, and curiosity. HYBE itself has yet to provide a detailed clarification about the reason behind this decision. The agency's silence only added to speculation. Some suspect the order is related to a secret project schedule in Korea, possibly for a comeback or individual work that could not be delayed. But others suspect a more serious internal conflict, considering the situation occurred after the BTS reunion, which already raised big question marks. The most pressing question in fans' minds is, why did Taehyung look so heavy-hearted when leaving LA? Several videos recorded by ARMY show Taehyung walking without much greeting, unlike his usual self, who always takes time to wave or smile. Even his face looked stiff, enough to trigger worry. Was this really just about work, or is there something bigger behind HYBE's decision? This incident recalls previous moments when BTS had to endure sudden decisions from management. Many ARMY have criticized HYBE for being too controlling of the members' activities, even in personal matters. And this time it involves Taehyung, known as one of the most expressive members, but also vulnerable to emotional pressure. The fact that Jungkook seemed shocked by the news is a signal that the situation may be more serious than it looks. International media immediately highlighted the incident. Some American outlets called Taehyung's departure a mysterious move that was unusual. Meanwhile, Korean media tried to restrain themselves by only reporting the departure fact without linking speculation. But ARMY's comments worldwide reflected the panic. Why so sudden? Why does Jungkook look so broken? And what is really happening with BTS? Interestingly, some ARMY began connecting the event to the previous BTS reunion. They suspect unresolved tension among members, or perhaps HYBE's order was a response to something that happened backstage. Was HYBE worried about open conflict? Or was there actually a big agenda being prepared, with Taehyung playing the key part? On the other hand, there's also a theory that Taehyung's sudden return is actually part of HYBE's larger strategy to reset BTS's public narrative. With big news constantly filling headlines, such publicity could be used to maintain the group's relevance during their transitional period. But if that's true, why did Jungkook's expression look so unprepared, as if everything came too fast and too heavy? This incident has clearly become a turning point. ARMY are now torn between curiosity and worry. Many hope HYBE will soon give an official explanation to end the speculation. But if past patterns repeat, the public may have to wait patiently for a statement that often comes too late. Meanwhile, the mystery of Taehyung leaving LA will continue to haunt especially since he himself has not posted anything on his personal social media. That silence is a bigger question mark than just a plane ticket to Korea now. All eyes are on two things: how HYBE will respond to fans' anxiety and how Jungkook will express his feelings after Taehyung's sudden departure. ARMY know very well, Jungkook is not the type to easily hide his emotions. If he really feels shocked, that means something truly heavy is happening. And that makes the main question even bigger. Is this only about work, or is it a sign that BTS is facing a storm bigger than just an international trip? After all the uproar on social media, after millions of tweets, speculation, and even international headlines strengthening the rumor, it is now time to draw a clear line. Not everything that appears is what truly happened. The claim that Kim Taehyung was suddenly ordered by HYBE to return to Korea from Los Angeles turns out to be not entirely accurate, even misleading. Let us examine the chronology clearly. Taehyung's presence at Los Angeles airport is indeed true. Dozens of widely spread photos and videos are undeniable proof. But the part that triggered the commotion was the narrative that he was sent back by HYBE under emergency orders. In fact, as of this writing, there has been no official statement from HYBE or Taehyung confirming such a thing. It all began from speculation of an unidentified airport staff. From one small rumor, a big theory was born that many ended up believing. Reliable sources in the Korean entertainment industry later denied any sudden order. They stressed that Taehyung's return was scheduled long before, only the public did not know because the private schedule was not announced openly. In other words, the claim that HYBE abruptly forced Taehyung home is nothing more than a misunderstanding magnified by the lack of official information. And what about Jungkook's supposed shock reaction? The truth is, the circulating video showing Jungkook serious was taken in a different context. He indeed looked serious, but the short clip was out of context. At that time, Jungkook was talking about something else in his brief live, not responding to Taehyung's return. But since the moment was paired with the viral news of Taehyung, the public connected two unrelated things. Here lies the important note: how fast public opinion can be steered by partial narratives. ARMY, used to following every detail of their idols with full emotion, often fall into the trap of half-baked information. In fact, Taehyung never showed signs of being forced. Even though he looked in a hurry at the airport, many fans present confirmed he still greeted, though briefly. His stiff expression can be understood. Considering the crowded airport filled with cameras and shouting, HYBE eventually gave a short clarification, though without detail. They stated that Taehyung's schedule in America was finished, and he had to continue his activities in Korea for personal and professional agendas. There was no word of sudden orders, no hint of conflict, and no drama like imagined. That short statement was enough to break the rumor, but since it came late, speculation had already spread. This case is an important lesson about how social media shapes perception. When a short video is paired with unclear rumors, it creates a dramatic story that seems real. In Taehyung's LA case, the world saw how a narrative could grow into global news in just hours. Jungkook, whose name was dragged, actually never commented on Taehyung's departure. The word "shocked" was only public interpretation of his expression. In reality, BTS members often remind ARMY not to overinterpret their expressions, because not every look can be explained with simple words. Yet again, fans' love and concern often push them to jump to conclusions. If we look broadly, this sensational news shows two sides. On one hand, it proves BTS's immense influence and ARMY's intense attention to every detail of their idols' lives. But on the other, it shows how vulnerable false or half-true narratives are to causing panic. ARMY should take this as a reminder to be more careful in digesting news, wait for official clarifications, and not get trapped in sensationalism that could harm the artists they love. For Taehyung himself, the trip from Los Angeles to Korea was just part of his routine as a global artist shuttling for schedules. There were no signs he was forced, no signals of conflict, and no evidence that HYBE did something drastic as accused. All of that was nothing but wild narratives born out of public emotion. Now that everything is revealed, one thing is clear: Taehyung remains professional, Jungkook continues to support him, and BTS remains solid. What ARMY must do is keep the trust, not be easily provoked by rumors, and continue to support their idols in healthy ways. Because in the end, BTS are human too, who deserve to live their schedules without constantly being colored by baseless gossip. In the end, the whole situation highlights how powerful rumors can be in shaping narratives, especially when it comes to global icons like BTS. A simple airport sighting, when taken out of context and paired with speculative commentary, can create a storm of assumptions that ripple across fan communities worldwide. This is not just about Taehyung or Jungkook. It is about how information spreads in the digital era, how it is consumed without verification, and how it influences emotional responses from millions of people who deeply care about these artists. The so-called shock, experienced by Jungkook, as widely reported in fan-based narratives, has no concrete basis other than conjecture. The supposed order from HYBE for Taehyung to immediately return to Korea remains an unverified claim, unsupported by any reliable statement. What becomes evident is that such stories thrive not because of facts, but because of the intense emotional connection fans have with BTS. Therefore, it is essential for ARMY and the general public to approach these reports with caution. Rather than fueling unnecessary panic or excitement, understanding the bigger picture and waiting for official clarifications should be the priority. Truth, after all, often proves much simpler than the dramatic tales built around it.